Do you want your products seen by more buyers on Amazon, Etsy, and other marketplaces? Do you want to get more traffic, make more sales, and scale your brand? Welcome to the Signalytics podcast, Signal Code Unlocked, where we discuss what signals are needed to send to your customers, to the algorithms, to the ad platforms, in order to get your product seen, converting, and profiting fast. With your host, former top 50 seller on all of Amazon, the Professor Howard Tai. This is the Signalytics podcast, Signal Code Unlocked.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And we have Matt today. Thank you so much for taking up the time, Matt.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Awesome, and thank you all.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so Matt, we would like to hear a little bit about your background, like how did you started the Amazon thing and what you are doing currently in the Amazon space.
Yeah, so I actually started on Amazon, would have been about 12 years ago, really mainly focused on reselling college textbooks and kind of dabbling in some retail arbitrage. After I got out of college, kind of doubled down on that and continued kind of scaling retail arbitrage at scale until I had enough money to start launching my own private label products. And from about 2013 on, I've been selling private label on Amazon, mainly in the supplement niche. And then about 4 years ago, we started a Amazon agency, really kind of targeting larger brands as a whole, more like senior companies like Procter and Gamble and things like that weren't really optimizing for Amazon and providing them the necessary tools to help bump their listings.
All right, great, awesome. So when did you meet Howard and Baldwin?
Actually, I met Howard in Miami. It would have been almost actually 4 years ago as well. We went to one of his events that he had held there and I've been hanging out with him ever since.
All right, awesome. So, I have read somewhere that you are currently managing 250 million portfolio current per year.
Yep, we actively are right now across about 70 clients.
Awesome. So back to our topic today, we would love to hear from you, how to use PPC and DSP side by side.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say really the biggest thing that we do with all of our clients, we really don't recommend DSP to them until they've kind of tapped out everything they can with sponsored products and sponsored brand. For most of our clients, I would say 60 to 70% of them, we just set up basic retargeting DSP because they really don't have the budgets to spend on big multi-level campaigns within DSP, and they're just not going to get the results that they actually want at the end of the day. But we kind of take a different approach overall to how we run PPC. A lot of our products and companies that we work with really fall into the consumer product goods space, and they're all replenishable. Usually falling between every 2 to 3 months, the customers will usually reorder, or that's when their average subscribe and save period will be. So really what we focus on, and I don't think there's many out there that do, is we calculate their LTV value and we spend full funnel across all Amazon ads based on the LTV of our customers. Really, I think what this allows us to do is in our supplements, we know the average customer is worth about $250 to us. So we're willing to pay up to $160 per acquisition, which means our ACoS, our tacos, everything is going to be through the roof. And most people won't really look at it like that. But most people on Amazon aren't trying to build long-term brands. They're just looking for quick cash. So it kind of gives us an advantage because we can move more velocity than them because we're willing to pay more per acquisition and we're willing to go into the hole at the beginning where others aren't. So we do strongly recommend, if you have any type of replenishable, to really look at these numbers and dig deeper and make sure you're maximizing your true potential there.
Do you feel that the mindset for normal Amazon sellers needs to change? So instead of doing the quick, quick wins or quick low ROI and low ROAS or high ROAS, that they need to be more educated in terms of how to build a brand instead of just how to make your first
Yeah,
of 7 figures or something.
100%.
because yeah, because I would like to add here in Pakistan. So we have a large Pakistani community here, and they are after lowering the costs and controlling costs, and they are, like, you can say, are rushing towards these numbers instead of thinking long term. So this is happening, I believe, everywhere. So I believe you should keep it that the Amazon is the long, not the short term.
Yeah, definitely. From basically what we've seen is the days of kind of black hatting your way to the top and writing that out is over as a whole, unless you have hundreds of Amazon accounts. So it's really all about building that brand now. And once you have a bunch of subscribe and saves, it's really hard to knock you off of top rankings. Like a couple of our better selling products, we have over 40,000 subscribe and saves a month that go out. No one's going to touch our velocity because their subscribe and saves are nowhere near what ours are.
Yeah.
I got a question regarding, since your clients are more high, like big brand, big corporation, like Procter and Gamble. For DSP, do you find that it's easier to kind of sell your clients on that because they're used to spending for impression, like a cheap impression rates? Do you think it's easier to sell your clients on those rather than the average Amazon seller?
Yeah, so I would say yes, it is easier to sell it into these people, mainly because they are used to buying these. I would say most of our clients, when they come on, they're buying DSP directly through Amazon Managed Services, and they don't realize all the hidden fees in there. And really, they're spending 2 to 3 times what they should be on DSP because Amazon Managed Services is awful at running DSP from everything we've seen.
Yeah.
So we usually pull things back and show them the proper way. But we also do have Amazon Marketing Cloud now fully enabled as well. So we're seeing a lot better insights into what DSP is doing and being able to prove those touch points out, because most of our campaigns, if you would just look at them in the DSP platform, you would see horrible ROAS, and really most companies would probably cut it after 2 to 3 months. But with Marketing Cloud, we can actually see that performance and what it's doing on down the line and how it's helping to build the brand.
So we have Howard here. Hey, Howard.
I just got to Switzerland, Interlake, I believe it is, something like that. So I was trying to get everything ready. Sorry for being late. But yeah, you guys could continue while I catch up.
All right. Great. So, Matt, we have too many limited budget on the PPC in Pakistan. What would you suggest them how to they run like PPC, and if they use DSP or not?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I got like every other word from it.
All right. So I'm requesting what would be your take on for the limited budget sellers on PC side. Like we have too many sellers in Pakistan who has limited budget. So what are your recommendations for them?
So if you're working with a very limited budget, you really, honestly, it starts at your product selection and making sure you're selecting products that you're going to launch that you can actually put that budget behind and make it work. If you're already in a product and you realize that you don't have the budgets to really compete there, what we usually do is focus on some longer tail, very low volume, like anywhere from 700 to like 1,500 searches per month, and really just try and dominate those top placements for those key terms and work on building them up. The bigger thing that we've been doing, though, too, that kind of plays into this, and I would highly recommend it for someone on a small budget, is outside SEO and backlinking to your Amazon listings. If it's done correctly, you can build a pretty deep moat. Like there's an account that we were auditing here recently We noticed they sell a acne blemish patch. There's a lot of them on Amazon right now, hundreds of different ones, but they were outselling the second bestseller by almost 60,000 units per month, and we couldn't figure out why. We pulled all of their Google rankings for their listing, and they ranked number one in Google organically to their Amazon listing for 197 keywords, which pushed 59,000 people to their listing per month. So it basically made up that difference in sales that we were seeing.
All right. What would be the low price products? How is PPC on the low price products? This is a pain point. We have a community here in Pakistan.
Yeah, on low price point products, we really don't even recommend getting into them unless it's a consumable that you can do that repeat purchase on. If there's no repeat purchase and it's like $15, you're going to have a hard time no matter what. There's really no way around that unless you have deep pockets. So if it is replenishable, though, like I said earlier, we look at those LTVs and we always spend towards the LTV, but on cheap products, you're still going to have to basically lose money for 4 to 6 months until those subscriptions and everything build up.
So like what is your for the product?
Our price point, so most of the products that we sell are anywhere between $17.99 to like $29.99. On average, it's about $21 to $22 per order, because we do get a lot of people that are buying multiple units per order.
All right, great.
But we focus too. I think part of like when you're creating these products is really looking at like supplements. For an example, you'll see a lot of people go super big and they'll do like a 270 count, like 360 count, where it's a 3 to 4 months kind of use cycle of that. What we've done is we still go down to the lowest units. So we'll do 30 counts and 60 counts because we want that more frequent purchase to keep pushing our sales velocity up higher and higher on the listing, where we would get 4 orders and the time frame that person would get basically 1 order.
I think the sign trip froze or no? Okay, never mind. Howard, maybe you want to jump in?
What happened? Zishan frozen? Just keep on asking questions, go on. Continue. I think Zishan has internet problem for a while now.
Yeah. Okay, so the topic is how to use Amazon PPC and DSP side by side. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of insight on how you would do that, because there's this thing about overlapping or double attribution that a lot of DSP people are kind of, or people who know about DSP are kind of, just not worried about, but it is an issue. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, for the overlap, I mean, honestly, we don't really think about it too much. As long as you're setting up your campaigns and doing things correctly, you can really control it. Like, you have overlap on any channel, Facebook audiences will overlap, talk, all of that. Really, at the end of the day, we're looking at what is the bottom line on our cost to acquire a customer on everything that we're spending, no matter if it's on DSP, Facebook, Amazon, everything combined, and what is our goal target CPA to acquire a customer. As long as we're beating or exceeding those expectations, we're continuing to increase the volume across all of those channels. Really, though, on the DSP side, I think the biggest mistake that we see is we have a lot of people that come to us and they want to run DSP while keeping a lot of their sponsored display campaigns running. Those do have super high overlap if you have very similar audiences across them. So we usually always audit that first and dig a little bit deeper. But outside of that, we really don't worry about it too much. I think the biggest thing that we do when we're looking at DSP is really like in market segments and finding what those customers are actually buying. I think a lot of DSP kind of agencies do this, but I don't think Amazon sellers as a whole actually look at this, and really building that customer persona. Like, if you're selling a prenatal vitamin, what else is that woman going to be buying before she buys those prenatal vitamins? Making sure you're hitting these people at each of those checkpoints along the way. So you're going to be advertising on like baby swaddle blankets. You're going to be advertising on strollers, baby food, like all of these things that come back to that, where you may just do like a category wide targeting in DSP. We get very, very product specific when we're kind of running those as a whole, because if you just go category wide, you can get a lot of junk in there.
Yeah, I think that's the power of DSP that a lot of people don't realize. It's you can focus target your audiences. Maybe you can. So a lot of people in Pakistan, maybe they have misconceptions or false ideas of whether it's campaign structure or what you should focus on in terms of PPC. What do you think will help just the basic audience in Pakistan to understand regarding just cost per click and campaign structures?
Yeah, so really, we run a lot of our campaigns in single keyword groupings just to make sure that we're maximizing the potential of everything that we're running. It works well on small budgets and large budgets. The main thing, though, is as you kind of scale, you definitely have to have some sort of software or a really good Excel macro that's keeping up with those bids for you. But we really focus on keywords that are driving sales. And this is something that you can really pull the data on now using the search query report that comes through in brand analytics and overlaying the actual brand analytics data for those keywords. You can know exactly how many units each keyword is moving for those like top sellers as well as yourself. And then you can make sure that you're only really targeting those keywords that are transactional keywords and not discovery keywords if you have that limited budget and want to maximize your sales as much as possible. A lot of times, though, like you will see that those cost per clicks on those high sales volume terms are obviously high, but there are a lot of longer tails that build off of that you can go and look for in Helium 10 and other softwares and use those to really build out your campaigns and spread it wide, a pretty low budget.
Okay. Howard, is there anything that you feel like we should ask Matt that since he's here?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like, at what point you would suggest to use DSP?
Honestly, really, you should only start looking at a DSP once you've reached a cap on spend on sponsored products, sponsored brands, because now with sponsored display, you can run most basic retargeting and things through that. You don't actually need to have a DSP campaign set up. I think another big mistake we see is people jumping to DSP too early before they've truly maximized what they can spend on sponsored products and sponsored brands, because DSP is not going to give you instant sales and instant growth. You're going to have to wait it out for a few months before you start seeing truer returns on that type of spend. So it really depends on the category. Like we had one account where our kind of maximum spend per month back in like December was around $40,000 to $50,000 a month. We couldn't spend above it no matter what we bid or what we set the budgets up to. So we started running DSP on it. We were actually able to then increase our sponsored products and sponsored brand spend another $10,000 to $15,000 a month after running DSP because of how many other new categories we started becoming relevant for because of these DSP ads. Our ads on sponsored products started serving more frequently for these kind of more out of category terms. So I would say just spend on sponsored products and sponsored brands until you kind of hit that upper limit.
And how do you decide that this is the upper limit and there is a cap?
Yeah, really for us, we've seen every single time, like you will not be able to spend your budgets. Like it just, even if you're bidding $20 per click and you're getting 100% top of search share of voice, it just, you can't spend anymore unless it's a holiday period or something like that. So it's pretty easy once you actually hit them. And it's a lot higher than what you think on most products.
So Matt, for the DSP, do you guys do a lot of testing? You know how like DSP, there's like so many things you could do. Right now they're rolling out this cool stuff. So tell us about it. What do you do?
Yeah. So right now on DSP, we're doing actually a lot of Whole Foods market DSP. So we're actually pushing DSP towards our Whole Foods listings on Amazon through Whole Foods kind of fresh. Actually, that's where we're seeing the best returns by far for all of our DSP spend. So pretty cool. We're also running a lot of their audio ads, which is, it's not that new. It's, I think, like a couple years old now at this point, but not many people run audio DSP at all. So they bought a pretty big podcast network about a year and a half ago, and you can stream across those pretty frequently. And then the other one that we do a lot of is FireTab. So we do FireTab takeovers with DSP quite a bit, mostly because you can get them pretty cheap at the end of the day. And it's great to get into like households that have kids and are buying kind of snack food items, which a lot of our clients sell.
Have you played around with any of the Twitch advertising yet?
We've run them. We haven't had great success on them as a whole. I think it's a very specific audience that will perform well with those. But we do run our own OTT ads outside of Amazon that push to Amazon.
I mean, we actually did a lot of the weathering and location DSP. It works really well for us. So like maybe temperature, the umbrellas or some other products that will require like with higher temperature, it sells better. Things like that. It's pretty good. Yeah,
and we've seen too. There's a lot you can do with like Whole Foods targeting, where you can actually, if the like end user is scanning their Amazon app at the Whole Foods checkout, all of their buyer data from Whole Foods is also available to serve ads against DSP. So like if you sell a seasoning salt, you can actually see people that bought steaks within Whole Foods within the past 30 days and things like that. So you can start to target these people.
Well, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But on the kitchen niche products, you are the supplements. So DSP, a few, it is more powerful in the supplements, or it is like more powerful in the kitchen, because mostly people are in kitchen niche.
I would say it's just as powerful in each if you're doing your targeting correctly. Like when we are running supplements, we're looking not only at like categories, but we're looking at like we have VAs that go and search blogs to see kind of what supplement stacks people are taking to make sure that we're advertising our supplement against the other right supplements that people should be taking together and things like that. We also have people that listen to podcasts and are polling, like on Joe Rogan, if they recommend certain supplements, what we're going to start pushing that week, how we're going to start shifting our ads, because we know there's going to be a search volume surge in whatever supplement Joe Rogan mentioned that week and things like that. But really, as long as your targeting's right, it'll work on anything.
Okay. And what's your experience on it?
Sorry, say that again?
I'm asked what's your experience on it?
In general, just have your audience correctly set. I mean, most of DSP, the foundation is your retargeting. Retargeting will capture a lot of your sales. And then when you're feeding in audiences from, I guess, kind of middle of the funnel in market audience or audience base, you're just feeding your listing. Basically, you're driving just eyeballs onto your detailed page view. Then your remarketing will kick in and basically capture your correct audience. So I think just building up your foundation of retargeting and then playing around, just start targeting, testing different audiences, seeing how that works and seeing how your remarketing reacts to your middle of the funnel approach.
All right. So Matt, what is your suggestion on the PPC? Is it a cost, or what do you think we look on?
So we don't look at any of those things on most of our accounts because we're really going after what is our conversion rate and what is our CPA that we're targeting. A lot of people don't look at CPA because you have to calculate that outside of the ads manager. But like we use PackView to manage a lot of our ads. It calculates it in real time and we can make AI-based adjustments on that. But the biggest thing we look at is conversion rate. As long as my conversion rate is in the middle or beating the top in brand analytics day by day, we keep pushing those ads until we start to see a decrease or we're ranking number 1 or number 2 organically. And then we'll start to pull things back. And really, that's been probably our biggest growth lever is forgetting about tacos and ACoS and really focusing on driving as much velocity by keyword and keeping those conversion rates as high as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a keyword that we spend, like a great example of this in a product that we just launched, we were spending almost $4,000 a day on a single keyword. We basically found out that no matter what we did, however we optimized the listing, we could not get a conversion rate above 8%, where the top 3 in brand analytics were all converting above 20%. So we've decided to just kill that keyword, even though it is the main keyword for the product that we were going after. And we may bring it back like 3 to 6 months from now. But right now it's doing more to hurt us organically than it is to actually help us since our conversion rate was so low.
So what you reverse engineer that? Like, what was the reason to not go up for above 8%? They were big brands or they were doing something different?
We're actually not sure what was causing it not to get above 8%. Like we tried changing main images, changing titles, bullet points, changing price points. We were actually already lower than the competition. We had about the same reviews. It really just didn't make sense, to be totally honest. But we'll definitely bring it back in and test it here in a few months and see if we can increase that conversion rate. But this basically the day we stopped spending heavily on that keyword, all of our organic rankings across that category went up about 15%.
Have you faced any situation like this?
Sorry, I don't think we got that.
Have you faced this kind of same situation?
Which situation are you talking about, Dushan?
The just like you are spending heavy on something, but the conversion is not going up.
Are you asking me or are you asking Matt?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Have you faced any kind of situation like?
Yeah. I think there's certain keywords that no matter how hard you push, you don't gain. Well, like it's hard to push through. I think partly is your relevancy, or maybe there's something wrong with your listing. Something needs to be redone or tweaked in terms of whether maybe you're not indexed correctly with the keyword. Yeah, basically, like in the Shopify world, people talk about CRO, conversion rate optimization. I think in the Amazon space, it is very under or not looked at. And when people just have their listing, they just set it and forget it. They don't really optimize for conversion rate. But I think conversion rate is the biggest driver to ranking. I can't express how much you just have to kind of play with your listing and see if you are pushing a certain set of keywords that you think is relevant. Make sure your listing is geared towards that conversion rate or conversion for that keyword.
All right. And Matt, how do you often make changes in your listings?
How do we what?
How do you often make the changes in your listings?
How often do we make changes?
Yeah.
We make changes like honestly every couple of days or every few weeks. It really just depends on where we're at in the stage with that product. On a newer product, we'll keep it pretty consistent for a few weeks from the get-go because it's already pretty optimized for the keywords we're targeting. But after we start ranking for those and we're holding those rankings, we'll start to switch in other keywords that may be falling behind. On older listings, honestly, like once a week, and then we usually do a kind of monthly check and see if search trends have changed for that type of product, because what we've seen is usually every 6 to 9 months, the main search term will change in most categories, or it'll be some variation of what it used to be.
All right. So I believe it's some questions from the audience.
So cost per click is high, and we will be more higher in Q4. So how do you tackle with cost per click for newly launched products as conversion is less? So there's no way to battle this like directly going into Q4. The only thing that I would highly recommend, and what we've seen from Amazon Marketing Stream, is top of search placements basically decrease by 30 to 40% after about 6 o'clock Pacific time. So a lot of people are running out of budgets. You can basically day part your campaigns and get some lower cost per clicks in those kind of after hours from like 6 p.m. Pacific to midnight. And hopefully that will decrease it enough for you. But you are missing out on kind of those key sales periods of that like morning and mid to late afternoon.
So Matt, what kind of day parting are you doing? Are you doing any day parting at all?
Oh yeah, we're doing a ton of day parting. So we use PackView to manage everything. So they're completely hooked up through Amazon Marketing Stream. So we get hourly data on all of the interactions that are happening within our campaigns. So we day part and optimize bids based on individual keywords by their performance throughout the day. We also do incremental campaign budget adjustments based on that day's performance. So we have multiple times throughout the intraday where it's pulling budget from campaigns that are underperforming that day and pushing it towards campaigns that are performing, to try and maximize it as much as we possibly can.
Has Amazon Marketing Stream basically opened up your eyes to the audience of day parting, I guess, for you?
So we had been running it for quite a while. I would say it's definitely given us greater like insight into the hours that are working. Like for us, we always knew 6 a.m. Pacific to around 9:30 Pacific, and then again from about 3:30 Pacific to 6:30 Pacific were our peak hours for every single client. So we did a lot of day partying around that to begin with. But now I think what we're seeing, and how we're kind of seeing bids decrease quite a bit going into the later hours, and conversion rate actually increases on some of those. And then in the morning, really anything before like 9 a.m. Pacific, you're wasting your money from what we've seen. Like you're not going to get conversions.
This is interesting. So have you measured anything that you've done recently on the results of the different, with the maybe day parting with the new the stream, Amazon Stream, Marketing Stream? Did you see any like really cool data or test cases that you've done?
Yeah, so we don't really care about ACOS or tacos on a lot of our campaigns, but we do care about conversion rates. What it allows us to do is really optimize for that prime conversion rate period. And every product has like an hour window, usually in the morning and the afternoon, that it is the peak conversion for that. So we ran a test on a product, and for like the number one, I think, category on Amazon right now, which was keto snacks, basically spent all of our budget for that day, which was about $7,000 on that single keyword within those 2-hour windows. And we had the highest conversion rate we've ever had. So we've actually started doing that same thing across all of those keywords that we are really wanting to rank high for organically. And now we're in the top 5 for every keyword that we targeted over the last 2 weeks.
So you talk about conversion rate just as being your prime metric, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
How would you tackle the situation where if you're running PPC for one child ASIN, but the other child ASINs the conversion rate is getting or better, but most of your ads through Amazon's algorithm, if you just target the 3 ASINs, is being shown for the one that's not converting as well?
Yeah, I mean, so if you're running your ads and Amazon's favoring one ASIN, that conversion rate's always going to drop because it's getting more traffic than the others. The others will almost always get a conversion if someone clicks over to, like if it's a color variation, they click through on the black, but they want a blue, they're basically always going to convert, and you'll have a very high conversion rate. So when we have things like that, we first pull which ASIN is ranking for that keyword already, or which ASIN is indexing for that. And then we make sure that when we set up those campaigns within those sub ad groups within that campaign, the ASIN that is ranking for that keyword is the one that we're targeting. If, say, the blue one is ranking, like say we're selling a blue dress, and for the keyword like women's dress, it is the blue one that's ranking, we will never run an ad for women's dress besides for that blue variation.
Okay. So basically it's just whatever's organically ranking highest or favored by Amazon.
Correct. I mean, at the end of the day, like Amazon knows better than what we do at what someone's going to purchase after searching something. So we trust them and hope that they're making the right decision for that specific keyword.
So I wanted to, the audience here doesn't really know too much about the DSP in Pakistan. Can you give examples? What kind of rollouts has you gotten through DSP? Anything that you can kind of let them know so that they can kind of see what before, let's say before a DSP is on and after DSP on, maybe the results of that. Have you gotten any case study on that as well?
Yeah. So basically the biggest thing that we see is the increase in subscriptions. So we run a lot of DSP retargeting with subscribe and save coupons. If you're a vendor, you can run straight coupons that only work on subscribe and save. They won't get it unless they subscribe and save. You can set up something similar on DSP. What we usually do is set up product specific landing pages through DSP, and we send all basically people that purchase within the last 30 to 60 days to these pages where they can get an extra discount on those subscribe and saves. On one of the main accounts that we ran it on here in the last couple months, their subscribers went from about 4,000 a month to almost 27,000 in a 3-month period just from running this campaign. We spent quite a bit on it. It was almost a $100,000 campaign, but we know the LTV of those customers is about $320, give or take. So we're going to come out ahead quite a bit at the end of the day once everything's done.
So most of our clients, they're not like a subscribe and save model, but how would you build out, because on DSP, you can track the SSNS subscribe and save metric. How would you build out campaigns for DSP to increase subscribe and save?
I mean, there's a couple different ways to look at this. One is kind of your main overarching subsegment within that is you want to target prime customers, which is like the first thing that you can target on DSP is only showing it to prime customers. What we've also seen is you want to make sure that you're targeting people that are subscribed to other items, which is something that you can filter out as well. And then you want to usually target people that are falling into certain niches. So for most of our products, it's family oriented. So we want to make sure that there's a special subcategory that's Amazon family, and you can run it only towards people that they know have kids or have certain households. And then we're starting to layer in those age demographics of those kids, where if we have a certain product that we know no one below 6 years old eats, we'll basically segment out all of those younger kids in the families and only show it to families that have kids 6 and above, but cap it at like age 12. And then usually we're layering in over some kind of like economic demographic of either location on where they live. Is it a semi-wealthy area? Are they driving nice cars? Because you can layer it all the way down to like car parts that they bought in the last certain period, as well as income.
We probably lost a lot of people just by talking about the weeds in DSP.
So there's another question. I want to know,
how good does DSP work for smaller brands like 10 to 15 ASINs? Do we have any structured content available, and how to work on DSP efficiency?
I would say for this, I wouldn't really consider a smaller brand based on the number of ASINs. It'd be more on like what monthly revenue is, because we have accounts that have 5 ASINs that do 20, 30 million a month. But what we would really focus on, I'm guessing if you have a lower budget, is actually sponsored display. Sponsored display targeting has gotten extremely good. There is a beta as well that you can get into that I can send over more information on, and it's sponsored brand videos off Amazon. So you can actually run OTT DSP now through sponsored brand videos. And that way you can really control your budgets a lot more. You can spend low minimums per day and kind of test over a longer period to make sure you're maximizing every dollar that you're spending.
So, like, one, maybe you can tell the audience about what we did on our case study regarding the weathering and location targeting. What was the results?
I think if you're talking about ROAS wise, it was super high, ranging from 22 to 40 ROAS, just because you are able to specifically target hot places. So if you're selling, let's say, something to do with the heat, you're able to just basically find the hottest places or places that are going to be hot and preemptively show your ads specifically to that location and build upon that audience where, people looking for certain things to cool themselves off, or like other products that are related to summer or heat. There's a lot of things you can play with. I think we are using AccuWeather to really find out all of this information. And it's not just like the temperature, it's like air quality or just the likeliness for people to mow their lawns. So if you sell like weed killer, you know that people are doing yard work. Like this is the peak time to do yard work. You can pull data like that.
So I think last time I was talking to Matt, and all of a sudden Matt says, "I'm in Pakistan." Can you tell us about your experience in Pakistan, Matt?
Oh, yeah. So we actually switched most of our manufacturing to Pakistan for all of our supplements and products in the last 6 months. But in February, we had a good friend get married in Lahore. So we went to Lahore for 3 weeks. And honestly, like I've told every person that we've met, you have to go to Pakistan. It is the nicest, most friendly people. And like the thought perspective that Americans have is nothing like what it really is. It's probably one of my favorite places. We're actually going back again here in December. My brother's getting married in Islamabad, and we have another trip planned to do a base camp summit for, actually I forget the name of the mountain, but in the northern part of Pakistan somewhere. So we'll be there quite a bit in the next year.
Sounds good.
Right.
So
Good.
how safe is it? Like I've heard like stories. You said some stories, and some other people said stories. So maybe Zishan and Matt can kind of go and speak about that, because we're going to go to, I think Kevin King wants to come to Pakistan, me, and some a bunch of us. So maybe you guys could kind of give us some heads up first.
It's extremely safe. Like I walked everywhere in Lahore, like no issues whatsoever with anyone. It's a little startling when you see like AK-47s on the back of people on scooters, but super nice. Like, I mean, honestly, we would be a prime target if anyone was coming after us. We were driving around in G-Wagons in Pakistan. Like, I don't think it gets any worse than that. And no one bothered us at all.
Yeah,
Zishan?
so it's safe. Like we have too many ambassadors here. We have too many people, foreigners here who come regularly, who visit the northern areas and who eat the food on the regular markets. So there is no danger here, like what you heard here over there, or what you can see on media, because media tells, and but they're just feeding their that's it. It is really safe. Regularly to foreigners coming all around the world on cities like in Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi. So too many people like walking around and eating food and shopping, all stuff there. So there is no danger thing or danger factor here.
Yeah, I think that actually the biggest thing that was striking to me is every person that we passed, like either wanted a picture with us or just to like sit and chat. Like honestly, if you stop and chat with everyone, like you would spend every single day doing that. But I can't tell you how many homes we got invited to, people we went and had tea with, everything, just great experience.
Our Matt Altman is, all the good looking, and everyone wants to take pictures with him.
Everyone does, no matter who you are. You'll see. Actually, no, that there's a lot of Chinese coming into Lahore now. Yeah, they aren't that special anymore.
Oh.
But I mean, honestly, I would highly recommend looking at Pakistan for sourcing products. Like, I think every product that we sell personally, we were able to cut our costs almost 30% by sourcing it through Pakistan.
I think me and was talking about a sourcing trip, right? Sishan, remember? To go to Pakistan?
Yeah. I'm setting the foundation for that. Having that trip like as soon as possible. I'm working on it.
Is there any last questions, guys?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, go ahead.
For DSP, one should be going after the same child ASIN, which is performing well in PPC, or can we target multiple child ASINs?
Yeah, usually what we do is we'll target one or two child ASINs with the main ASIN just to see what happens originally. But even if you choose to just target the main ASIN, you'll get your brand halo report, which will show you exactly what people are purchasing. And then you can update your DSP campaign later on to include more ASINs if you want. So it can be done either way. We haven't really seen too much of an advantage doing it either way. It's just kind of test it and see what works best for your products.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it was the last question. There is only one question on my side. We ask our guests fun fact. So I would like to ask the funniest thing to you in the Amazon space.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What was the funniest thing that happened to you in the Amazon space?
Ooh, funny. I don't know if anything funny has ever happened to me. Like a lot of heartache, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah. What most memorable in the Amazon?
Most memorable? I would say, honestly, like one of the most memorable was recently with Howard in Paris. That was a pretty memorable experience by far. But Miami was fun as well. Had a great time in Miami. A lot of interesting characters there.
Well, yeah, like Paris, we had a great time. It was one of my first castle masterminds, so I was like, kind of like, I want to make it really good. So, and then Miami, we had another, I guess, mansion when we did a mastermind. We could do it all over the world. So right now, I'm just looking around, maybe even all these places to see if there's any other places for the next mastermind. I'm going to Switzerland right now and Amsterdam in a couple of more days. So there might be some stuff that can intrigue me to host another mastermind here around here.
Nice. You gotta go see my business partner. He's in Amsterdam. He lives there.
Like I said on Facebook, when am I going to be a business partner? You have so many, Matt.
I have two. That's it. Only two. They come and go.
Understand. Okay, Nishan, you want to close up?
Yeah. So I think there's no more questions. So let's conclude. So thank you so much, Matt. Once again, thank you so much for taking out your time and joining us today.
Yeah, it was great to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Do you want your products seen by more buyers on Amazon, Etsy, and other marketplaces? Do you want to get more traffic, make more sales, and scale your brand? Welcome to the Signalytics podcast, Signal Code Unlocked, where we discuss what signals are needed to send to your customers, to the algorithms, to the ad platforms, in order to get your product seen, converting, and profiting fast. With your host, former top 50 seller on all of Amazon, the Professor Howard Tai. This is the Signalytics podcast, Signal Code Unlocked.